How do we review other people's sermons so that we can learn from them and improve our own? That's what we're going to be talking about today. Hello, I'm Malcolm, and this is teaching tip number 385, and it's the first of a two-part mini-series on how we review other people's sermons. And today we're going to be talking about how to spot what is done well. So the reason I'm thinking about this is because last Sunday, my good friend Bruce Miller traveled up to Watford to preach for us in the local congregation here. And I was so encouraged by his lesson that I thought we would take 2 tips this week and next week to explore what he did well with 2 aims in mind. So these are the 2 things to be thinking about. Firstly, hopefully, as we observe his sermon, and I'll give you the link in a minute, we will be able to imitate his good practices. And there are many you will see. But secondly, also, we will learn how to review a sermon, to spot what is done well, so that whichever sermon we're looking at, we can be learning from it to improve our own lessons. So in part 1 today, I'm going to introduce the sermon. I'm going to be talking about what we're trying to achieve and how we're going to do that. In part 2 next week, I will share some of my own observations on the sermon, but also respond to any observations you have sent in. So can I say this now near the beginning of this video? Please be thinking about something you can contribute to the conversation, the discussion, so that we can learn from each other. Now, the main text of the lesson was just the first 3 verses of Hebrews chapter 12, which I won't read right now. It's part of the sermon which you're going to watch. That's part of the exercise here. But the first 3 verses of Hebrews chapter 12 were his text, so you can have a look at that. Then let me give you some thoughts on the procedure for what we're going to do here, and then a few concluding thoughts. That's enough for today. So next, the procedure, what I'd like to ask you to do, and then we can learn together here, is firstly, read the text as Hebrews 12, 1-3, and write down your thoughts on the main point you think should be made from that passage. Read Hebrews 12, 1-3, and write down in your own words, I think the main point in this passage that should be got across, should be preached, is this. And just write it down. It might be 1 sentence, it might be a paragraph, but we're not talking about an essay here, just the main point, the central core point of Hebrews 12, 1-3. That's the first thing to do. Secondly, watch the lesson. I'll give you the link here. It's in the show notes. Watch the lesson, and if you need to, watch it at 1.5 speed or 2 times speed if you don't have much time available. That's okay. I don't think Bruce will be offended. We're doing this as an exercise. You can watch it at normal speed for your own spiritual edification, if you like, but this is an exercise. But at least watch the lesson, or at the very least listen to it. There's an audio version I'll also put in the show notes a link to. Watch or listen to it. And then thirdly, make notes on what you think he did well. What did you notice that he did well? It could be physical things he does. It could be the slides. It could be the way he speaks. It could be the points he makes or how he makes them. But what does he do well? And then fourthly, share your observations on YouTube beneath this video in the comments section, or you could email me if you prefer, malcolm@malcolmcox.org. So 4-step procedure. Read the text and write down your thoughts on the main point. Secondly, watch the lesson. Thirdly, make notes on what Bruce does well. And fourthly, comment on it publicly or send me an email. That's what we're going to be doing this time. By the way, I would say this nice and clearly, we're not considering what he could have done better. Bruce himself would admit there are many things he could have done better, but we're not doing that in this exercise because I do not wish to criticize my friend's sermon in a public setting like YouTube. That's not fair on him. And any feedback for improvement is best given person to person, face to face. Public speaking, and if you're watching this know, it's a vulnerable place to be. And public criticism is not helpful. Personal feedback to help us grow, excellent. But today what we're going to do only is we're going to be looking at what he did well. And that's because I want us to comment on that in public so that we can learn from each other's observations. So to wrap up, next time, I will share with you my own observations of what Bruce did well in his lesson, and I will respond to your comments. That's in the next teaching tip, number 386, highlighting excellence. what worked well in the sermon. So that's coming next time. In the meantime, please add your comments. As I've said, leave them where we can see them, because we can then learn from each other, and we learn best when we're learning in community. Also, please consider joining me and Doug Jacoby and Andy Bowachi in AIM UK and Ireland for faith-building teaching. The program we have has been helpful to so many people who've gone on to do their own preaching and teaching on the back of what they've been learning. You can find the details at the AIM UK and Ireland website, or you can email me. If you have any questions about the Bible or preaching and teaching, then drop me an email. If you'd like a free copy of my book on spiritual disciplines, How God Grows His People, then sign up for my newsletter at the website malcolmcox.org. Please pass the link on to anybody who you think might benefit. Subscribe, hit the notification button. If you would, that would help greatly. And remember, at all times, to keep calm and carry on teaching. Take care. God bless.